Not audible.
I couldn't hear you, sorry.
Yes, sir, I couldn't hear you.
Yes.
You're from
Where
India, you said.
Yes, sir, I'm from India.
Yes. And from which part of India?
From Tamil Nadu state.
Okay. So welcome.
Hi,
Hi.
my name is Shanta Joseph.
Yes.
I'm
from
from
which university are you?
I'm from Stella Maris College, Chennai.
Okay, so welcome. It's a pleasure to
Thank
see
you. Thank you.
I visited Stella Maris a few years ago.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful.
Jacinta was still responsible for this campus. And I know that you have a wonderful campus and so interesting.
Thank you.
Jacinta, this time, Jacinta was still a member.
The principal,
of the
okay.
Board. Yes, the principal was member of our administrative board.
Okay, all right.
Hello, I see someone else. Welcome.
Vous avez une petite flèche en haut qui vous permet de les voir toutes défiler.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Cristina Dominguez from Spain, from Universidad Pontificia Comillas in Madrid. Nice to see you all.
Nice to see you. Thank you for joining us.
And Tada.
Hello.
Hello, good evening to all. I'm Victoria from Stella Maris College, India, Tamil Nadu.
Okay, wonderful. So we have two people coming from Stella Maris.
Yes.
Yes, wonderful. A great
Hello,
pleasure.
sir. Sorry for the interruption.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Hello.
Hi, I'm Bernadine Joseph from Stella Maris College, Chennai.
Okay.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, I am. Hello. Can you hear me?
Okay, yes.
I'm Shiny John Weideman from Stella Maris College.
Wow, so we have a great number of people coming from Stella Maris. So we all welcome you. It's a pleasure to see you. There is a microphone with cut. Okay, with shut. Okay.
Nous avons déjà 30, presque 30 participants, 28, François.
Can you hear me?
Who is speaking?
Hi, I'm Sumitra.
Yes, I see you. Hello.
I'm also from Chennai and from Stella Maris as well. 6:30 in the evening, and we're all happy to join the session.
Okay, thank you. Welcome.
Thank you.
Hello.
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 Yes, we can hear you. Hello, welcome.
Hello.
You are Shan?
Yes, I'm Dr. Shan from the Department of History, Stella Maris College.
Okay. Welcome.
Nice seeing you all.
So we will see, but I think that if you are so numerous coming from Stella Maris, perhaps you could organize a specific session one day, perhaps, and why not in Stella Maris College? Just for you, it would be a real pleasure for me to come back and visit your so wonderful campus. So I can see someone else below on the screen.
Hello, sir.
Hello. Who is speaking?
Hello, sir.
Hello.
Hello.
I don't know who is speaking, but anyway, I welcome you with pleasure. Loïc, tu penses que tout le monde est connecté là?
On a 31 personnes, dont nous 3. Donc 8 sont arrivés. Je les admets au fur et à mesure de leur arrivée. Moi, je les vois apparaître et je dois les admettre dans la colonne de droite. Vous m'entendez, François?
Oui, oui, je vous entends. On attend peut-être encore 2 minutes. We are just waiting. Perhaps we are going to start our session. First of all, I would like to thank all of you for joining us for this presentation of this future online training about women leadership within our institutions. Before introducing our distinguished speaker, Edith Lassiat, Edith, that you can see on the screen, perhaps a few words about our federation. As you probably know, but I can remind you, we are the only federation recognized by the Holy See, bringing together more than 230 Catholic universities all around the world. In fact, we are present on each continent, and I think that this diversity of universities is really one of our main strengths. Our work is structured around 4 departments. We have a foresight unit, a prospective department, which deals with the future of our universities related to the challenge that we face. We have also a research department. Some of our universities have already worked with us in the past with this specific research department. This department gathers more than 10 research groups, international research groups, and has also some specific issues like disability or the social responsibility of universities. We have an advocacy department. It means that we work with some international institutions all around the world with the idea to convey our convictions in this institution. And finally, we have also a training department created 3 years ago, which aims to train the management teams of our universities on current topics. And to this, the news at the moment, for example, we're working a lot within the Covid-19 commission that has been created by the Holy Father in order to mobilize the Catholic and provide present and future solutions. So about this topic, why do we want to mobilize our universities around this specific topic, women leadership? For simple and obvious reasons, because of course, as you know, women remain discriminated against in the contemporary world. And this is also true for the Catholic Church. And of course, unfortunately, it is still true within our Catholic universities. I will give you just one example. For the moment, in our administrative board, we have 16 members and just one is a woman, our president, Isabel Gilles. So you can see that it's a real problem and real issue for us to change this situation, not only in the structures of our federation, but more globally in our universities. And it is why it seems to me very important a few years ago to set up a specific program on women leadership. And it's also for this reason that Isabel Gilles inscribed in the strategic axis of her mandate, the women empowerment. And for this training, I'm very happy that Edith Lassiat has agreed to join us. Edith is, first of all, a very close friend. She's a person with multiple identities. I knew her as a psychotherapist, working in particular with autistic children, but she's also a person who has had a brilliant career in the luxury industry within management teams. She's also an artist, but she is at first a coach and a mentor who works at the highest level and who is recognized as an international speaker. Edith trained last year the first promotion of rectors and vice rectors on women leadership. And at present, she's also a member of our specific task force This task force will be responsible for proposing recommendations on women empowerment and our next assembly. So thank you so much, Edith, for being with us. I give you the floor with pleasure.
Well, merci, thank you, François. I'm very happy and honored to be with you all here. In fact, as you said, I have a multiple career. I worked in corporate business. I'm an artist. I'm a psychologist, and I'm 64, so I'm not a baby girl. And I understood a few years ago that the world needs women to be more at the head of structures, organizations, and businesses. And therefore, I specialize in women empowerment. I have one question. Do you see me or not?
Yes, yeah, we can see you now.
Good, because I don't see what, okay. Let me admit Vidya 130. Last year, François asked me to prepare a masterclass about women empowerment for you ladies, for all these women at the head or being potentially at the head of universities, because we had a feeling that it is not easy to, I would say, unleash the feminine power, strengths in our fields. So this masterclass started last year at the same time, in almost May, and it was led around three main elements. One was about thinking about what is leadership. The second one was introspection, in order to allow each and everyone to think about herself and to find out her strengths and her potential. And we worked together in brainstorming type. As I lead a lot of masterminds, I used my technique of masterminds in order to bring all these women together and work together and share. So this masterclass was dedicated for women, heads of services and departments or universities, who wish to better develop their leadership, I would say their charisma, and therefore they need a better knowledge of their own profile, their strengths, and their resources. We helped them to develop their self-confidence, self-esteem, in order to have a better efficiency in terms of managerial performance. We also worked on balancing the masculine and feminine dimension of leadership, in order that each and everyone, at the end of the masterclass, could find the full expressions of her own talents and vision of the world. What I learned by working with you, and also in the task force I have been invited to through Isabel Gill, is that you share and we share as women a certain amount of values: contribution to a better education, sharing and spreading high values, a strong commitment to your university, a respect of your initial drive, your vocation, why you were here, why you came to this job, which is more than a job. For most of the ladies I worked with, I felt it was a strong vocation and dedication to what I would say sociological issues. And what I learned also through these times shared with them, it was that the most difficult issue is to be seen as actual leaders where they are, where they work. It was that hierarchical masculine structure is an invisible glass ceiling for most of them. They feel there's a strategic necessity to move up. Sometimes they feel that it's difficult to be seen and listened to. They need more time to present results of their researches because they are more implicated and cope with administration. They also express they want to to express the empathy, the personality, which is not that easy where they are. So we worked from IQ to EQ, which means enhance emotional intelligence. IQ is a standard of your knowledge, your degrees, but EQ is how to cope with your own emotions, to what you feel, what you allow yourself to express in order to feel better and have better results. Does it talk to you? All these elements I'm sharing now with you talk to you? Do you recognize yourself in these issues and desires of the women we worked with? And if so, don't hesitate to write it down in the chat. I'm sure Loic will tell me, because I can't read the chat and talk to you at the same time. So this masterclass was organized around 3 sessions. The first session was about leadership. What is leadership? What is the difference between a manager and a leader? So we worked through university context specificities. We worked about importance of women role models, the model we can find in order to be inspired. We worked on identifying the best resources each and every one really has in your life, in your knowledge, in your feeling. We worked on values, how to express values better, because our values are the sources of our real power. Then we found out who is more a manager or a leader. And how to...
just went. Let's see.
Sorry? Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am, we can hear you.
Am I clear?
Yes, ma'am, we can hear you. Yes, ma'am, we can hear you.
Good. So this first session led to a first step, which was identify who is more a manager and a leader, and what to do to become more a leader than a manager, because these are 2 steps in the way you see yourself and you see the world and you see your teams. And at the end of this session also, we started to identify who is everyone through a storytelling. We are what our family structure gave us, our country built around us. So each and everyone has a special history, and through working out, looking in this history for each and everyone, we found out the strengths for each and everyone. The second session was about IQ to EQ, as I told you. We worked on self-confidence, emotional intelligence, and the power of your heart. What I noticed is that you are, most of you are really driven by a strong vocation and values. So we went to study to find out what are your best values, which are the values which give you strength and allow you to do better what you do. We worked on communication and languages. We worked on brain types and profiles, crisis situation, what happens when you are in difficult situation, how to handle these situations which are highly uncomfortable, where you can find that you feel like a victim instead of being really the one can decide about things. We work on real case analysis. So each and every one can talk about what she experiences, and we share, because all of you kind of share the same problems, the same issues, the same difficulties. And the interesting thing in this masterclass is I found out that you have mainly the same issues, and when you talk to each other, you find new solutions, new ways of resolving the issues. The third session was about finding your own leadership DNA, how to develop and express your charisma. Each of us, each of you has a special way to develop charisma, to be heard, to be listened to have influence. And it's like a DNA, an identity. And we helped in this session to find out what is your best way to express who you are with strong results in your teams, in your organizations. I've also worked on imposter syndrome. Many women, and I'll talk about it later, many women feel insecure. They say, I'm not enough. Even when they have high degrees, most of the time they say, I'm not enough. So we work on this syndrome, imposter syndrome. And in fact, there are 3 different syndromes which entail 3 different solutions. We also found out that there are different types of leaders. Which one is yours? Which kind of leader are you? And at the end, we really have a self-portrait as a leader, going through all the elements that has been seen along the 3 sessions. And at the end also, I invite everyone to represent for a vision board images exactly the kind of leadership which is yours. So from the beginning up to the end, it's like revealing yourself, all your strengths, going through your issues and finding out who you really are as a leader, as a woman leader. If I want to go a little further, we worked on glass ceiling, because I don't know if you find it in your own life in your university, but there seemed to be a glass ceiling for women, a special one, which is different of one that men can experience. And the second element we worked was on importance of role models, women role models. So, have you all heard of a glass ceiling?
No.
A glass ceiling is an invisible upper limit in cooperation and organization, above which it is difficult or impossible for women to rise in the ranks. Invisible upper limit in corporations and organizations, above which it is difficult or impossible to rise in the rank. It means that a part of a glass ceiling belongs to your structure. The fact is that in Catholic universities, there is a masculine hierarchical structure, which is a long-lasting one. It started from years ago, decades ago, and it is still there. And this is the external part, but the internal part of glass ceiling is the limits that women feel in themselves. They don't need other people to tell them you are not enough. They believe it themselves. And we found out that when we made a study from what could be a feminine glass ceiling, so this limit, there was sometimes a lack of personal ambition, yes. Why should I rise? A fear of visibility. I don't want to be seen. A deficit of self-esteem, or a perfection syndrome. I have to be perfect in order to be seen and respected. Sometimes education or poor family models, which did not allow you to dare to be the bigger part of yourself. So hierarchical structure ceiling helps. And most of the time, a difficulty to express both masculine and feminine codes. To give you an example, when I was in corporate business in deluxe industry, I was 28 and I had half of a world to supervise for Cartier, the jewelry. And after 2 years working in this field, the president came to me and told me, you know why I hired you? Because you're a man. I didn't feel like a man, but I understood that in order to be included, maybe unconsciously, I behaved like a man. So I endorsed masculine codes. And when we study feminine glass ceilings, sometimes we have difficulty to express both our masculine and feminine codes. And leadership for women is finding out our feminine codes in order to be seen as we are, and masculine codes in order to activate the power. When I told you about the importance of women role models, there's something I noticed as a therapist, is that our models are the mirrors of our potential. The people we admire are the reflection of our own qualities. The people you admire in somehow are the mirror of your higher potential. What you admire in them is something that they have achieved, made visible, but you have inside of you, but maybe haven't externalized yet. So the importance of models, women role models, help us to develop our strength and probably not to feel alone, because sometimes women feel alone, and sisterhood can be a great help to find out. I noticed 3 elements. This is from a president of university, President Cynthia Zane at Hilbert College. And they said, having the opportunity in 2002 to shadow another female president had a profound impact on her career. Until that point, she had only been exposed to male examples. So being a model as a woman helps other women to dare to take their real part in the game. Another element is the family role models, which we noticed can be strong. Women who have a strong female model at home will feel stronger. This is another president of university. She said, I had a strong female role model in my own personal life in terms of my own grandmother. It's Julie Sullivan. She's first female president at University of St. Thomas in St. Paul, Minnesota. She taught me from a very early age that you can be and do anything you want. You just have to work hard at it. So finding in our line of women strong models can help. And if we haven't got them, let us be the first of a line who will allow herself to do and be anything she wants. And a third example of women role models is another president of university who said, I was mentored by men who were good at providing me role models and experience and broaden my horizon. But I really thought going up through the ranks that women would have a somehow different leadership style. When we are mentored by men, we are most likely to use masculine leadership style, and probably now the world also needs more feminine leadership style. The lessons I learned from this masterclass was that they had, through the masterclass, a better understanding and respect of their values. They found a balance between the time devoted to organization, research, and students. They learn how to handle a toxic environment when it is, with more serenity. And also, they clarify the game rules, entailing for them a better power of action. Someone wrote to me, the traditional mentality of manly leadership is mixed with aggressiveness and corruption. I know how to better deal with it now. They also found out the dark sides of what they experience, and the fact they could share it with other women helped them to find out, okay, this is it, how can I deal with it? Someone wrote to me, election campaign can be very ferocious. Election campaign can be very ferocious. How can I deal with it? They learn to find where the academic debate is open or not. And they learn how to break some walls, even if it takes time. So this is all the, I would say, the journey, these 3 sessions led us to go through and to help us to find out a real feminine strength in all our fields as we really are. If you have questions, please. I couldn't see the chat because I was really dedicated to what I was sharing, but is it clear? Do you have questions? I'm all yours. Does it talk to you? Does it?
Victoria.
What would be your biggest issue now? If you have a possibility to change something, apart from COVID and pandemic period, which is very special, but if you had something to change in your own university, in your role, your part in the university, what would it be for each and every one of you? What would be your biggest issue?
Hello.
Please.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
There was a sudden lockdown in India because of COVID-19 as in other places. And therefore, the past scenario was when we had direct contact with students in classrooms. And now because of lockdown, everybody is at home. So that is the greatest challenge. And then there are ways by which we are trying to face the challenge as an institution. So the president, along with the administrators, are trying ways to create workshops so that we can empower ourselves or learn the skills of online teaching and learning. So this is one of the steps that our institution is taking to ensure that they facilitate the faculty to enhance their skills and to know about the digital platforms. Thank you.
Thank you. And you feel comfortable with this issue? I can read in the chat some elements, and I understand what maybe it's difficult to share in public with you your elements, your private elements. But what I felt when I had all these sessions with this head of university, all these women, is that at the beginning we do not dare to share. At the end, when we share, we find common solutions because we almost have all the same issues. And the fact that we allow ourselves to speak truly helps a lot. But I understand that not knowing each other, it can be difficult. And I respect that, of course. Can I share a few? Yes, of course you can. Yes, of course, India.
Yeah. Good evening. I'm Dr. Cynthia Jude from the Department of History and Tourism, Stella Maris College. So I actually want to appreciate and thank you all for giving us this opportunity in this webinar. And one thing I would like to express and share is that instead of considering this lockdown or curfew as a kind of a restriction, not permitting us out, asking us to stay at home, restricting our movement and all that, we could take it as a chance to develop our skills, to enhance our knowledge in several aspects which we might not learn, which we might not have learned already. We could enhance our technical knowledge and other skills, soft skills and other things we could develop so that in the future, when we open up with the universities and colleges, we will be able to perform extremely well. So I think we should take this as an opportunity rather than brooding over it, staying at home and thinking of wasting all your time that you have. It's better that we enhance and enrich our knowledge, develop our skills, and thereby go to future greater heights in order to achieve better. That's my idea.
Thank you, Cynthia. The fact is, the more you work on your own power, the more all your skills will be easy to develop and to enhance. Everything starts from how you feel. So the more comfortable you feel with who you are, your potential, and you identify where you are very strong and where you would need to be better in order to be more efficient, you have the power of doing things better. And I agree with you, Cynthia. It's an excellent opportunity to work on yourself now in order to be the best part of yourself. Whatever the situation is, we have a lot to do as women, so much to do, to share, to build. The presence of seniors, the faculty feel inhibited. Do not hesitate to talk. I'm listening to you. I'm all yours.
I can just add to what Cynthia had said. I think now more than ever, I realize how little I know in so many things, especially in being tech savvy. I realize I have a long way to go. And I also realize that my students probably know a lot more things about technology than I do. So it's a time of coping with that. It's time of learning new things, new skills. And it's also a time to be very mindful of what's happening to other people around. So I think particularly in the Indian context, given the situation that's developing and also given the fact we deal with people from different backgrounds who are facing all sorts of difficulties, the need to be mindful, even as one becomes mindful of one's own potential, the need to also think of the other person is much, much more than it was ever, I think, all this while.
You remember that we did
I think that this situation, do you hear me? I agree also with Cynthia and Sumitra. I think this is a really great opportunity to develop ourselves and increase our self-esteem because we are learning so many things and we are establishing new connection with the students in another way. So you can be a role model for them. So trying to be learning as you do and show your vulnerability. I think it's important that they also know our vulnerability in some situation and we explore the best things together. So I think it has been a great opportunity for many things. And another thing is to see the collaboration among all the teachers, because we stopped the classes in Madrid one day, and the day after we started doing all the virtual classes. And it was possible because there were a great
right? So you can see my screen.
Sorry, I think someone mute everyone. and what I said is like it was when the lockdown was set in Spain.
Okay, so
Can I just interrupt you 1 second? Can everyone close her microphone while Christina is speaking, because there's a man speaking loud in one of the rooms and we can't hear you, Christina. So everyone cuts but you.
Thank you, Edith. Thank you. What I'm saying is that it has been a great opportunity that we have seen the collaboration among all the teachers, because when the lockdown was done, it takes only one day to start classes again virtually, because there were a great network between teachers to teach us the technical matters to start working again. So it was a great opportunity.
Right? Okay. So
Thank you, Christina. Thank you. Is there a special angle in what I shared with you about these 3 sessions and the journey, which really appears to be more relevant now for you? You heard the journey we took from IQ to EQ in all these elements. Which element which is really relevant, useful for you now? If there's one element I should work more compared to the one we did last year, because the context was a little bit different, what would you like us to add to this masterclass? And Francois, do not hesitate to share, because you have a high knowledge of universities as well.
Can I speak?
Yes, sure.
All right. The element that you spoke of from IQ to EQ, I think is very relevant now. It's not just we're parting, whatever knowledge through online, but I think it's also important that we connect with our students emotionally, because I think they do need that emotional touch. Some of the time when you conduct online classes, you do find students on your screen a little bit uneasy, because obviously they know it's not a class that they're sitting at, and there's this human thing to it. And I think we should address that, and I think that's important in today's scenario.
Thank you. Yes, definitely.
Hi, this is Rita Jayaraj speaking.
Yes, Rita.
I would like to just add on what Shanta has finished. I too feel there is going to be a big challenge for us as teachers, academicians, to finish the portions and also somehow balance, how to cope up with their mental stress and emotional stress that the students will definitely face in the aftermath of this lockdown. Thank you.
Thank you, Rita. Thank you. Anyhow, you will receive the document I prepared, so you will have the possibility to go through all the details. And for the one who will attend this masterclass, do not hesitate before attending we will be in link. I will send you a little questionnaire asking, a private one, confidential, which will help me out to understand better your need. So a part of a masterclass will be adapted to your need. I did it the last time and it was really great because I had a better vision of who needs what, which helps in the moment when we share to go deeper, where each and everyone can find a special enlightenment on the issue she has. So I'm very open to I would say, to your individual situation. It is something, as a mentor and coach, this is something which I like to add to a masterclass. This notion of being adapted to each and every one. It's not just a course, it's more than that, much more. Introspection and brainstorming, and really it will help you to find the better part of yourself and to reveal them.
Yes. Can I ask you?
Yes,
yes. Hello, I'm from Argentina, Buenos Aires.
Argentina. Okay.
Yes. Something that really matters to me is how to cope with women leadership, and in the meantime, caring about men's self-esteem. How to combine, how to balance women empowerment without damaging the relation between men and women. Because that's something that I could see at the university, that with women empowerment, some men feel, you know, like left away, or they may even not have the same opportunities that in some places now women are being able to reach.
It's difficult to answer just very shortly like this, but I would say the more comfortable you feel with who you are, your strength, your empathy, what you feel, when you really feel at ease with a good self-esteem, you don't compete with others. You just are. You express, and there's a posture, something strong, which leaves space to others. You are not in a competition. You are just who you are. What you bring through your compassion, empathy, understanding of situations is not a danger to the others. It's just an addition of competencies. I can bring something which you don't have. You can bring something which I don't have. It leads to, I would say, collaboration mindset, which is very important. And for all these years, I've been working on women leadership. I understood that it's not against men.
No.
Men, not at all. So it's a matter of each and everyone knowing where you are at your best, so that you don't have to compete, but to bring something. And it helps tremendously just to feel at your place, where you are. And does it answer your question?
A part, yes, and I really appreciate that. I'm also worried about how to promote this, because sometimes I don't feel that everybody understands this, and I know that we need to find the balance in who takes the lead, but sometimes it's hard, and I feel that there are some programs that promote women leadership, and sometimes I see a group of men that are quite lost, trying to also find their place.
I see. You mean promoting this program could frighten some men who would feel they would no? I'm not sure I understand what you're saying.
Not to frighten, but they might also need sometimes support. I could tell you just a short example. I once went to Kenya, to Nairobi, to support a program developed by one of the universities. And there was a great program to promote women's leadership. And they were very committed, doing a wonderful job for their community. And just a few meters away, there are a group of men just drinking and doing anything. And they also needed some promotion. So I was wondering how we can promote women leadership, and in the meantime, also help to promote other people that might also need this promotion.
That's a good question. Maybe there could be also a program for men leadership, but a balanced men leadership.
Yes, that's what we need.
I would be more than happy to help, because this is something, but really, I think I did two elements. One, only women between women, first step. It can be a group of men, and then a third one, men and women. But as we do not have the same issues, I think it's good at the beginning to have a background for women, a background for men, and then to mix all together and find out, and this will be a second type of masterclass, how to make a complete scheme, leadership, by adding the best of masculine leadership to the best of feminine leadership. So that I would say, from my experience, one for men, one for women, to have a background, and then mixed. And that, François, what do you think about it?
It's a very
excellent question. Thank you.
Yes, that's a very interesting and very complex question. I think that, in fact, you just raised the question of change. How can we succeed when we want to create a change in our societies and, for example, in our Catholic universities? And of course, we have to go step by step, and it is a very complex, and I could say a systemic approach that is necessary. If I take our example, I will say that, of course, we have already offered some training sessions about global management. What does it mean to have a global management of our universities, and what does it mean to exert leadership in our universities nowadays? And of course, it includes all the inclusive approach that we need nowadays. First part. Second part, we have to organize some specific trainings for women, and it is the work that we do with Edith. But of course, we must also exert an influence, a cultural influence on our universities. It is why we have created this specific task force. What does it mean? It means that, I just give you an example. We have 5 Catholic universities in France. None of them is managed by a woman. And in our history, we have just 1 Catholic university in Lille, in the north of France, which has been ruled by a woman. So if we want to change, we have to see very specifically what are the bylaws, what are the cultures of each universities. And if we want to analyze this global, if we want to adopt a global approach, we must provide some specific recommendations. And it is why this task force will have this specific task to do, give recommendations during our next General Assembly, so that all the people who will attend this General Assembly, who will be, I hope, perhaps 150 to 200 people, can work on this topic and understand what kind of changes we must adopt in all our universities. And of course, it is a very important challenge, because you see, just today, you represent many countries. And each country has its very specific cultures. France is not exactly the same than Spain. India, it's not the same thing like Taiwan, and so on. So we have to work on each subject, but have in mind that it is a systemic approach that will provide some solutions for the future. And of course, I think that if we want to go deeper, we will see that the results or the challenges are not exactly the same according to the faculties. For instance, I am a politist scholar. I know that in a faculty of social sciences, the challenges for changing is not exactly the same than in a faculty of theology. I work for a long time with theologians, and I know that there are also some specific challenges in this academic field, and so in this specific academic field with their faculty. So we can go deeper and see that there are also some specific work to do in each field.
Thank you.
So,
if there are any other questions, it was a very, very important question. Thank you, Maria.
Oh, thank you for giving me the time to do this.
Yeah. Thank you, Maria. It is an excellent question, because we cannot work against each other. It's a matter of working all together and complementary. We are very complementary when we think of the specific you have working together. It's like we do with Francois. I'm a woman, he's a man, and when we work together, we build something really great, because his way of seeing things, my ways of seeing things, and when you add all this, it's just gold.
Dr. Finola, would you like to add some specific comments? Because I know that you have a very rich and fruitful experience in this field also. Be careful. You have to tweet your mic. Your mic is shut for the moment. Yes, wonderful.
Okay.
Thank
Does
you.
that work? Great. I was smiling there because I was saying that's putting me on the spot. I am enjoying the conversation. I find in the work that I'm doing, I can resonate with what you were saying in terms of leadership and working in, I suppose, working in quite a male environment, not predominantly male at all. I'd asked a question earlier, and maybe I'll ask it again. My question is around how to work with toxic, I'm thinking of a specific situation. I'm thinking of somebody who seems to go out of her way to thwart good practice in teaching and in just good practice in general. And I'm wondering, and maybe it's too specific, I'm wondering really, how do we work with people who seem to undo and are just uncooperative?
It's a good question. We had to go through this kind of question in the last master class. And sometimes you have to isolate the person so that she has as few informations as possible, so that she doesn't pick them up to go against the project. It can be a matter of isolation, protection. It can be according to the degree of her toxicity, finding out why, what is her main fear.
Yes.
Yeah, I would say
yes.
these two tracks, finding out why, what is, because it's a matter of fear sometimes, or ego, why would she feel or he feel in danger, and giving as less hints, information, even emotion as possible. Become like a neutral person, so it doesn't go inside. This is the way we have a full, almost 1 hour around this topic in the masterclass, because that it happens very often, and we went through questions, how to handle it. I studied the Kaufman triangle: rescuer, victim, or le bourreau. Comment on appelle le bourreau? Oh, I forgot. The one who is intruder. So we work on the Kaufman triangle and handled extreme good examples and put on questions which lead to analyze which angle is best for the actual situation. And it helped.
Okay, great. Thank you very much for that. Thank you.
Pleasure. Thank you for asking.
You're welcome.
Okay. Cynthia. Yes, Cynthia. Open your mic.
Yeah, I have one question. Okay, so we were talking about these toxic people. You know, these toxic people kind of hinder our growth, and they usually don't let us do work. So the problem with them is that they don't realize they are toxic. That's the major problem, isn't it? And they kind of put us off in spite of our high spirits, in spite of our energetic approaches, our enthusiasm and all that. They kind of put us out, and they don't even realize they are doing it, and then they complain that we don't do things properly. So how do we handle such people?
Your question is really important. The fact is, they don't even realize they are, because they don't know why they are. So I come back to what I said earlier. First, try to find out why. Find out. Energetic will not work unless you find out what is the real purpose. Find out, asking questions around the person, or to the person, but to the person it's difficult sometimes. To find out what is at stake for this person, what she misses, what she lacks, what she needs that hasn't been addressed. And then again, don't try to go forward, to go and convince or to do something. Isolate, cut, as much as you can. Become neutral. I remember I had it when I was in Cartier, and there was someone who was really toxic. I found out he just wanted my place. So what I did it in 2 steps. First time, I took him really, but I was really kind of violent. I said, don't ever do it again to me. And I was really scary, I remember. And he was so amazed that I dared to say, never again, because I had such a drive inside of me. And it worked. It doesn't work all the time, but it worked. And the second step was no access to my elements. Close. What I do, he doesn't know. What I close completely, like separation between who he was and who. And at the end, it helped. But there's no one way of handling this. It's really, as I said earlier, a matter of asking questions, finding out, but isolation is very important. Cut. Don't try to go to convince. It's useless. You give more power to the person. The power you give is through what you want to give to the person. If the person doesn't want, is toxic, you cut. How can you cut? It depends on the situation. This is what we address in the masterclass. You'll have the opportunity to go deeper in your example.
It's also a problem that we have to manage at the institutional level. I mean, it's not only an inter-individual problem, it's also the purpose of the institution to find some institutional solution. It could be a specific commission for helping people, but I think that we have to link these 2 aspects, inter-individual aspects and collective one. And it's one of the purpose of a good manager. Of course, it could be at the faculty level or at the university levels. We need some specific commissions or something else for dealing with this problem.
And François, you're right. One of the strategy, because there are many, is to find allies. Because generally a toxic person doesn't express a toxicity just towards one person. Or if so, it's easier because you find out why me, what is at stake. But otherwise, generally this toxicity is multi-angle. So find allies in your structure in order to make a circle around this person. But everyone will be able to say no. It can help. Again, there is not one solution.
It's a problem that we face when one of my colleagues, Montserrat Lhomme, worked these 3 last years about the social responsibility of universities, and we have a specific focus about management issues. We have now more than 150 indicators about the management of our universities. And one point was about this issue. How can we organize our universities so that they can be institutions that pay attention to people, that take care of people? What does it mean exactly? Of course, in the relations between people, but also in terms of global organization.
For one of the universities, which I will not name, in the task force, we found out that a group of people was, in fact, by making a group of allies, they decided to work on this topic as a subject, how to bring more transparency and confidence between the people. It became a topic of research in order to bring all of them to a better relationship. Sometimes it helps to see. So we really will have to find out different angles to this topic.
Mm-hmm. And just perhaps before closing this session, I see one question from Shan, and I think that you are totally right. Yes, you're right. We have some specific surveys for the moment that show that when a country is led by a woman, and it's not exactly the same solutions that when a country is led by a man. And I think that we will have to think about this situation and to integrate this comparison in our future reasoning, future thinking about leadership and women leadership. You're totally right.
Yes, Shan, when I work with a task force led by Isabel Gill, what I felt is that women have probably a little bit more than men, but not all of men, of course. I don't want to make a caricature, but are more holistic and pragmatic. Holistic, which means that they have a view of all the elements involved. They have a very broad view. And pragmatic, they want to bring solutions. And it helps a lot because this holistic part is both with heart, empathy, analysis, seeing everything what is at stage. And then what can we do? Maybe they are less led by power than by action. This is my belief. It only, well, it's my way of seeing things. But it's what I notice. Women seem to be more, less concerned by power, but more by efficacy, efficiency, doing things, solving problems. We have less issues with ego and power.
So thank you so much, Edith. I know that you have an interview just after the session.
Yes, 5 minutes.
So we have to close, unfortunately, this session, but I would like to thank you very warmly for your presence and the time you gave us. I would like also to thank all the attendees. You will receive, or perhaps I think that you have already received a specific PowerPoint that resume the presentation that Edith gave us. If you have some specific questions, don't hesitate to send us emails, and of course we will answer. And perhaps, and I hope that some of you will be interested in participating in this masterclass, online masterclass, and perhaps that if you are some coming from the same university, of course, I have in mind Chennai. In the future, it's possible to organize a specific session, a physical session that we could organize in your university. So all is open, and we will be very happy to receive all your suggestions. So thank you to all of you, and I give you the mic, Edith, for the final word.
Believe in yourself, believe in your potential, and take your right place, because we need women more than ever.
Thank you, Edith. Bye to each of you.
Take care. Do not hesitate to write to me if you have special questions, and I will be more than happy to help till we meet again in the masterclass. Bye-bye.
Thank you and bye.
Bye.